Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 23 of the Creabea Knitting podcast. Hello and welcome. If you are a new viewer, then hi, my name is Rebecca and this is a knitting podcast or vlog. And if you're a returning viewer, you already know that. This is where I share what I've been working on, what I'm currently working on, what I'd like to be casting on, and usually some yarny goodness at the end. Today we have a lot. We have a couple of whips. I feel like I've been pretty monogamous, but I do still have a lot on the go, so that's literally the definition of not being monogamous. But I feel like I've been quite focused on my knitting. The whips will tell. I do have a couple of finished objects. Yeah, whips and finished objects. And then I have some yarny goodness. I did order a little bit of yarn and it did arrive. And if the post arrives before I get to the acquisition part, which is relatively likely, then I'll have a bit more for acquisitions. But the Royal Mail, which is our postal service, is on strike sporadically this week. And so the post is a mess. So it's been dispatched, but it might not arrive today. And that's okay, because we support strike action. Anyway. What was I going to say? Oh, let's start with what I'm wearing, because that's the best place to start. I am wearing my Lento sweater. This is a sweater from Elena magazine. I've got no idea which edition, and I learned from watching the Grocery Girls this week that the designer of the Lento is one of the founders of Lina, which I didn't know, which is quite cool. It's just simple perfection. It's really simple, really straightforward, and it's completely beautiful. It is a top down raglan. It's got some shaping in the back. It's got quite a subtle raglan increase, and it's knit at a beautiful gauge of something like 15 stitches per 10 centimeters, which means it knits up really quickly. This is holding a strand of fingering weight and a strand of mohair together, and it's not at all, like, it's not even, I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath, but it's not see-through at all. I like the sweater a lot. I've been finding myself reaching for it, despite it being a bit of a, I mean, I would say it's not my comfort zone colour, but I do have green eyes, and so I feel like I should be wearing, like, I feel like green might be my colour. Which we'll find out, because I've got another project in exactly this colour coming up to show you today. And I love it. I knit this with one strand of Gullet Farm yarns dyed up by Telling Yarns, which, if you've been around for a while, you know it was a love story. I went to a yarn festival. There was one skein of this yarn. I was really sad because I wanted a sweater's quantity. There wasn't a sweater's quantity. It was just one skein, and I couldn't just leave the one skein. And then the seller, Steph at Gullet Farm, had been emailed and was like, I'm putting something in the post to you. And I was like, what is coming in the post? And I opened it up and it was a second skein of this yarn, which just felt like it was meant to be, like that skein belonged to me from the get-go. And then I was really on the fence about what to knit with it, because 2 skeins of fingering weight is not, like, 800 meters is not a huge amount of yarn. But it was perfect. So I got this at 800 meters. Oh, door. Okay, that was the door. And I will open this at the end, but you hear what it says? It says a yarn story, so you can only come to imagine what the contents are. We can do an unboxing. I've never done one of those before. It's exciting. Okay, yeah, 800 meters of this yarn. What am I going to do with it? Ranunculus, nah. Love note, nah. Lento, perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's nothing super special. It's a stockinette sweater, but it's so much fun to knit. It's great for using up yarn, and I love it. I think we're going to do a Lento cowl. When I say we, I mean myself and Amy Palco. She like mentioned it offhand one day, and then I went to Knit and she's like, oh, so you talked about it, like, you've announced it. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did. So do we have a plan? No. Have I announced we're doing a cowl? Yes. Dates and everything to be announced once I've actually put any thought into it and actually talked to Amy about it. So yeah. Oh, it's a chaotic one this morning. That's what I'm wearing. Lento, Telling Yarns, Gullet Farm. Oh, and I held it with a strand of mohair, which is the Reseda colourway in Filcolana Arwetta, and Filcolana Arwetta is my favourite mohair, because they've got amazing colours. I'm just gonna, like, I feel like my collar is really, like my sleeve is sitting really high. There we go, that's why my sleeve is like right up my armpit. Yeah. Reseda, Filcolana Arwetta, Reseda, I love Filcolana, it's my favourite mohair. It's beautiful and soft, and the colours are amazing. Okay. Let's take a little breath, because evidently I'm feeling a bit rushed today. Let's start with the finished objects. I have two, a little one and a big one. So let me start with the small one. This is a little hat. And it's a red hat. It is, oh, it's so cute. What do they say? Red and green should never be seen except upon an Irish queen. I'm not an Irish queen and I look like a gnome, but it's fine. Here for all your Christmas needs. This is a very festive look. So this is the Purl Soho classic red beanie, which is a 1x1 ribbed hat, and I loosely follow that. So I made the adult small, but my gauge is definitely like looser. So this is fitting me, and it's also probably a bit too loose. But I cast on 108 stitches, could be 104. I think it's 108. And then you just knit until it's the length you want, and then you just decrease evenly across the top. This yarn is, oh, I have a little nugget that's left. So last year I made quite a few of these hats for Christmas. And then when I went my London yarn shop tour, I bought a skein of this, and it is Manos del Uruguay. And it's a superwash, and it's an ironweight superwash, and I just love this colour. And I had been watching Miss Casey Apple of the Young Folk Knits podcast, and she like unveiled basically one skein of this colour, and at that point all I thought I needed was a red hat. Like I thought I'm gonna look so chic in like my black Windsor coat, like a nice grey sweater and like a pop of red. I thought it was a look. And then I knit all my Christmas gift hats, and then the thought of picking up another 1x1 ribbed hat made me want to die, so I just didn't knit it. Like I was like, no, I don't want to do that, that's awful. I really burned myself out with Christmas gift knitting actually last year. I think that might be why I've not picked up socks all year. But alas. But it's a shame because it's a really fun thing to knit, and what I love about this is it's incredibly portable. So this for me would be like my number one like cinema project, other than the body of a sweater in the round, but it's just so portable. I put it on like a nice fixed circular needle. I can't remember what size, but like a fixed circular wooden knit pro needle, and you just knit in the round, and then the last little bit, like the decreases, if you take like an evening, so not even like 2 hours, so once they're there, I should take this off and just show you, shouldn't I? Once they're like that little bit, just doesn't take any time at all. So yeah, so that's this hat. I have a little bit left. It's a bit longer than I planned because last time I made this in a hand-dyed yarn from Tumeki, which I really loved, and the skein, it got me all the way. Like I was using, I think I had like a little tail left. I just knit as much as I could on those, and I think even one of them I had to like rapidly decrease at the end because I didn't have enough yarn. So I was just knitting, but I still got quite a little bit left, like a little, I don't know what is this, maybe like 4 grams or something. It's a beautiful rich red. I've got no idea what the colourway is. I caked it up and I cast it on, and actually I'm pretty sure I think I cast this on with the intention of using this hat to fix my I knit combination style knitting, which means I knit one way and purl a different way, which I thought was correct until about a year ago. And I have since then taught myself how to purl properly, but I only use it when I have to, which is not very often. Like pretty much ribbing flat is the only time I have to use it. And every other time I find it makes little to no difference. And I have to be careful with like increases and decrease, like increase and decrease how they sit. But what you can see is that it basically looks like my folded up rib here, folded up brim is twisted because my purls are twisted, and my 1x1 looks very neat and normal. If you taught yourself how to knit continental using a YouTube video, just double check that you're purling and knitting the same way, because I did not know until somebody very kindly pointed it out to me when I was making these hats last year. So yeah, I cast this on at the time with the intention of teaching myself to purl properly with using this hat, and I just could not be bothered. I completely lost interest, and I ripped it out into the needle, and I'd done like 3 or 4 rows, and so it sat caked up in a box. And then I was doing some stash organisation a few weeks ago, like a month ago now, and I found this cake and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then we went to a show, downstairs I think are blending, and usually their blending happens every day. They blend a lot, but it's usually quite short. Oh, they stopped. They might start again. Anyway, we went to a show which was a fringe festival show, and it was a 4-hour long play, so I thought I'll take this and cast it on because this is like the perfect thing for that. Like, you don't need to do anything. And I also thought, we go to a 4-hour long play, I've knit most of this hat by the time we're finished. Now, for those of you, I brought the book over today because I talked about it last time. This is the book. This is the play we went to see. It was 4 hours long and it was in Dutch. We left halfway through the play. I think we might have been like 2 of the biggest fans of this book. It's my favourite book of all time, and my boyfriend read it like 2 years ago when we first met. We've talked about it a lot. Like, we both really, really are big fans of the book and think it's incredible. The play was I can't put into words how hard it was to watch. It's a very distressing book. It should come with basically every trigger warning that you could put on a book. It should come with it. There's a lot of self-harm, mental illness, sexual assault, like abuse. There's so much happens in it, and I think when you read it, like, your brain protects you a little bit from how bad it is. And also, you can always close the book and walk away, but watching it on screen, on stage, was absolutely horrifying. My boyfriend got really, like, dizzy, and it wasn't the only one. Like, I saw there was a guy 2 seats ahead of us who went out and did the same. Like, somebody fainted, like, this guy was all wobbly, he had to go outside and get some water. We went out at an intermission and got some water, and we were like, will staying to watch this improve the experience that we had of reading the book, and will this make this any more impactful than it already was? And we decided no, and we went home, and we got McDonald's on the way home. And I don't know, that was really weird. I was so surprised we left. It feels like normally quite out of character for us, and especially like we knew what we were getting ourselves into. But yeah, it was really, really, really harrowing. Anyway, all that to say, I didn't finish my hat there, but I did take it with me. And then we must have wanted to see something else that I took this to. Oh yeah, we went to a festival last weekend. I took this with me to the festival. I think I've got a little clip up here of like this. It was a perfect festival. It was so lovely. And at the end of the last set that we stayed for was like, we were sitting in the grass. We just had some really nice food. And we were sitting there and the sun was setting and Bombay Bicycle Club were playing, sorry, hiccups. And my boyfriend was reading and I was knitting my hat, and it was just like, it was blissful. It was so lovely. So I pretty much started then, and then I came home and did the decreases, and now it's done. So it's a very long hat. This is it unfolded. I don't think I would ever wear it unfolded, just because if I thought I looked like a gnome before, I look like one now. If I took my thumbnails for my video, that's what my thumbnail would be, but I don't. But I do find that folding it up a little bit, it's pretty much perfect. Woohoo! So yeah, one of my favourite gift knits, one of my favourite portable knits. Don't know if I think I'll keep this, but I think I'll probably make a couple more this year. I really love making them, and I think they're also a really nice way to use like a special skein of yarn. I think this is maybe like 14 or 15 pounds, which for a single skein of like iron weight. Like, I'm not a big accessory knitter, so it's a bit like, oh, but it's a really good way of using up pretty much all of a really nice skein of yarn. So yeah, wow, sorry, that took me like 8 minutes just to tell you about a basic hat, but as you may be able to tell, it's been a busy few weeks and I feel like I need to scatter in information about my life as I talk through my knits. So that was the first one. Let me talk about the second one. It is barely dry. I'm actually not sure even if there are still stitch markers on the sleeve. I'll take them off as I go. So actually I've got to talk about that first while I do that. Let me do that quickly. My quick update is that my first design, the Cargill sweater, is it's going, it's in progress. It's just under a month until it comes out. So it comes out on the 30th of August. Some people have messaged me and asked for yardage requirements, and if you would like those before the release of the pattern, feel free to drop me a message on Instagram or an email. But I've not had any feedback from the testers on those yardage requirements yet, so they're still estimates. So I don't really feel it. I feel like it's misleading to post them now before I've had feedback, but that's okay. The test net's going really well. It's definitely, like, a lot of people seem to have a lot going on in life. I think September is one of those times. Like, some people have got grad school, and some people have like teething babies, and some people have signed up for 15 test nets and can't get them all done. Mega, I'm talking to you. Mega from Skeins of Dreams has signed up to 100 test nets, of which mine is one of them. But it's all very chillax. Like, we've just, like I just said, just knit what you can, get through it. Some are almost finished, and some have just started the yoke, and I think everyone's cast on now. But yeah, it's really nice. It's so much fun, and my own one's done. I will be going to a yarn festival next weekend and wearing mine for the first time. But yeah, if you're completely new and have no idea what I'm talking about, I will put this the right way around and then quickly show you this sweater. This is my Cargill sweater. It's my very first design. It's a dip stitch pattern. I need to put a label in it because I cannot tell where the short rows are. I think it's that way. There we go. So this is it. And yeah, the test is going really well. I'm really happy, and it feels pretty much like, it feels relatively, I think we've come out, like, there's a lot to be done at the beginning because you launch the test net, and then I think there can also be some like initial, like, early feedback, especially with this sweater, because the short row shaping is by far the most challenging part of the whole sweater. So I think that was an area that, like, requires some attention. And now for like the past month, it's all been very chill and everyone's just knitting away. But now I need to get on things like there's like a support video for how to do the stitch. I need to put everything into like its fancy final format, and I need to get like Ravelry set up and all those things, which is all a bit, it's not stressful, but it's definitely something. So yeah, Cargill, 30th of September, just under a month. I think it's exactly 4 weeks today actually, which is very exciting. Okay, my second finished object. I started filming and then I tried this on and then I got way too warm and flustered, so we're going to just start that section again. My second finished object is also my second design, and it is the Kerr Sweater. So let me hold it up and show you. This is the design. So it's a drop shoulder sweater, and it has this band of colour work across like the arms and the sleeves. I'll put a picture in of me wearing it. The sleeves and the arm like line up across the way, so it's like a very, when you're standing, it's quite like a band of it, which I really like. Yeah, it's just, I'm really proud of Cargill, like I really, really am, but this to me feels like I had to rip back so much in this version and really tweak things and like think it through more carefully. With Cargill, it was a stitch pattern, and like other than the short rows, I just knit till it fits, keep knitting. Whereas this, I had to consider so many things, like there's some short row shaping in the sleeves to make sure that the sleeves, when you put them on, the colour work sits vertically, no horizontally, sorry, because that little wedge is like, instead of the sleeve being there, the sleeve is like this, so then this colour work is straight. Like there were so many small details like that I felt like I had to consider, which really tested my brain. I do wonder if I'm just, like, I've done a raglan and now a drop shoulder, and I think the next one is a different construction, so I'm wondering if I'm just exercising my designing brain by trying every single type of sweater construction and seeing how I get on with them. It's got a 2x2 ribbing, oh, there's a hair on it, oh, it's gone, on the collar and on the sleeves. I want to block the sleeves out a little bit more. I just lay them flat, but I actually really want to pin them so the sleeves are like properly flat. And on the bottom, and yeah, I put a video in of me wearing it because I tried to do it already just now and I just got so flustered. So I'll add a video. I knit this one in Woolyknit, 100% British wool. It is the colour, I can't remember the colourway, it's like an oatmeal, and then this is cinnamon, which is my favourite of all the Woolyknit colours. I really was on the fence about these colours, but I honestly think it's just, it pops so nicely and it does such a good, like the colour work just looks so good, I think. The colour work is pretty straightforward. It is a 40 something row chart, and of those 40 something rows, I think 4 rows you have to capture floats, which I find completely fine. I knit colour work with like my dominant strand picking and my non-dominant throwing, and I find that to catch my floats, there might be another way to do this, but when I catch my floats I have to switch my hands, because I have to catch my floats I have to loop for some reason. My brain only allows me to catch my floats when I've got the one I'm catching in my non-dominant hand. So I have to switch those rows around. So I don't really ever want there to be too many rows. Like I reworked the colour work chart for my original one because the original chart had more rows I had to catch the floats, and I was like, no, I don't want that. So I rewrote it so that I didn't have to catch floats so often. So for the most part, like I said, 40 something rows and 4 rows where you have to catch floats. And I think the biggest is 9 stitches, and I think there's one that's 9 and the rest are all 7 stitches. So I like knit 3, catch 1, knit 3. And it evened out so well. You can see, like if you look at this side, you can see that there's a bit of a bubble, like my colour work or my ribbon go down and this bit comes out a little bit. I do not notice a single difference in when I'm wearing it. And for my second sample, I might just go up like a quarter of a needle size for the colour work on the body to make a difference. This has been the sweater of 1,000 rip backs. I ripped back the whole yoke section. I ripped back so many times because my instincts were just off. Like I made the back way too long, I made the front way too short, and actually because the shoulder seam sits quite far back on the shoulder, the back panel is actually, it's just this, it's quite short, whereas the front panel has all of this plus all of this side, if that makes any sense. So that took me a while to understand, like, what on earth is going on? Like, why are these not, in my head, your shoulder seam is here and you knit the front and the back equally, but that wasn't what happened in the garment. So that was a lot of ripping back. I started the colour work and changed my mind on the colour work, so that was ripping back. What else did I do? The short rows and the sleeves I ripped back like 4 times. And then my 2 sleeves, I knit the first one and the first sleeve and blocked it all maybe 2 weeks ago, and then I picked up the second sleeve pretty much this week, like last weekend, to knit on it, and my gauge was completely different. I was having quite a lot of hand pain last week. I've got hypermobility, so it's honestly doesn't really affect me other than it can get sore. And I think there's been like some weather changes, because last week I was so sore, like everything. It started with my hands, and then by the end of the evening I was like, ugh, like my knees are really sore, my hips are really sore, my ankles are really sore. So I think it was just hypermobility acting up, and I don't know if that affected my gauge. I felt like I couldn't trust my hands because I was knitting on, I knew exactly what needle size I'd use because they were still in the bag, and because I had written everything down because I was designing it. And I knit the second sleeve, and I think I knit, this is the first sleeve I think, but I knit to like here on the sleeve, and I placed it over my first sleeve, and it was like 3 inches bigger than the first sleeve. I could not work out how that happened. So I went down a quarter of a needle size and I changed from metal to wooden tips, and that helped. I didn't rip back the colour work, and I do think that the colour work is a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think it is a sleeve. I mean, now it's blocked, I really can't tell. So, but yeah, I think the colour work is slightly, the colour work is slightly bigger on this sleeve, but marginally, and it mostly blocked out. But I felt like I could not trust my hands. That was really threw me off. So this, I'm making a second sample. I'm just going to knit the whole thing and just block it at the end. But for this, I wanted to block it as I went, so I could work out like, okay, where's it sitting? How much of this do I need to cap? How long do I want it? All those things. So yeah, this one is knit in Woolyknit, and the pattern has been sent to my tech editor, and she has let me know that she's likely to get the edits back today, and I told her I would like mid-September as like the pattern, like that's my aim for test call. It's fully inclusive again, it's from a 70 70 centimetre finished bust to 160 centimetre finished bust. Or maybe 170 centimetre finished bust, I can't remember. There are 11 sizes and they go up in 10 centimetre increments, and so yeah, it must be, I don't know, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's fully size inclusive. Yeah, that's all I've got to say about this, I think. Tester call. Actually, if all goes well, my next episode will likely have the tester call for this, which I had not processed until right this second. So if you like this, keep your eyes peeled, because yeah, I'll be doing a tester call probably in the next episode with the intention of releasing this like end of November, which is nice. I'd love to see some different yarns. I'd love to see one which has like an ombre or like a variegated yarn for this. It's DK weight gauge, it's 22 stitches per 10 centimeters. So I'd love to see one with some like I think this is a very classic one, but I'd love to see maybe like some really bright colours, or someone using like a hand-dyed skein for that. Yeah, that'd be really cool. So that is my second finished object, which leads me very nicely into my first work in progress. That's not anything, that's the sweater I took off because I got too warm. It's this bag. So I knew when I designed that, actually my row gauge ended up being slightly different in the pattern to my swatch, which like it happens, right? Like a swatch is what, this big, and then you knit the pattern and it changes. So I designed the colour work detail thinking I wanted it to be approximately 15 centimetres long. Now in the pattern it's about 17 centimetres long, which I really panicked at first and thought, oh, it's way too big, it's way too deep. I actually love it, I think it works really well. However, in a recent test knit I was doing, there was a single detail, which is a waist tie, and the tie was 15 centimetres. And on some people, that 15 centimetres looked exactly like it was on designer, and on some people, that looked like half their torso. And then eventually the designer like has added an option in the pattern for a narrower waist tie for people who don't want that full 15 centimetres. And so that was a real inspiration for me, because I was thinking about this one and I thought that 17 centimetres on me, and I think people taller than me and like my height might look really perfect, but people might not want it that deep, or if you have a shorter torso or you're just shorter in general, you might not want the colour work to take up such a large portion of your torso, and you might want to reduce that portion. Yes. Okay, so many distractions today. I don't know what exactly I got to, but ultimately, if you don't want the 15 centimetres, if you don't want like the 17 centimetres of your torso to be colour work, and you want the same effect but scaled down, I'm making a second sample with a narrower colour work band. Which means like if you just want narrow colour work, you just have narrow colour work, but also it means it will scale proportionally to different body sizes. So I'm making a second sample. There were a couple of things I wanted to try. I also wanted to change the way, or wanted to try a different way of doing the shoulder shaping. Well, a different way, just a different increase method to see if it was a bit neater. And otherwise, just knit it from start to finish and not to rip back 10 times like I have with this one. And try the narrower colour work. So, I'm using, and I also wanted to use a yarn which wasn't as toothy as the Woolyknit. I love Woolyknit. I think it's amazing. I think it works so well, especially like under a t-shirt. Like with a t-shirt underneath it, I think anyone could wear it. But I know some people like toothy, like softer yarns. So I'm using the Rerum Natura Ulysse, which is a French yarn. It's 100% lamb's wool, carded merino, 100% carded merino. It's incredibly soft. It's really, really soft. I ordered the wrong colour at first, and then I changed my mind, and what I thought was very entertaining is that my intention is to make my second sample and give it to my mum. And I asked her what colour she wanted, and she said green, no, she said red or blue. And I decided I was going to make it green. And somebody left me a comment that was very sweet and said, you should definitely make your mum the colour she asked for. I would hate for someone to make me something and like I wouldn't wear it because it wasn't the colour I wanted, even though they asked. And that's a very good point. My mum isn't that fussed, so she really won't mind. However, I ordered the yarn, and the yarn shop sent me the wrong colour by accident, and they sent me blue. And I was like, is this the universe telling me I should make this sweater in blue? But I called them, we exchanged, they sent me the right one. So this is the colourway Cedar. And then this is going to be my contrast colour, which is Beige. So where this one, is like light with the dark contrast. This is going to be light dark with the light contrast, which I'm excited for, and also very like a natural colour palette. So this knits up so quickly. My first sample knit up really quickly, and I was confused, like how did that happen? But this one is the same. Like I'm just about ready to maybe 2 hours away from 2 hours of knitting away from the body colour work, which when I hold this up and show you, you will be surprised because it does not look like it's 2 hours away from the body colour work. This is what I have. Okay, unfortunately the back panel I have put on scrap yarn, and I've put on I was being so lazy and I just found the tiniest scrap of yarn. So this is actually the full back panel. It's quite big, but because of the way it's tucked up and currently on a tiny scrap, you can't tell how big it is. And so the front, you knit the two fronts separate and then you join here. And so I've done that. It really curled as well. So I have about another 4 centimetres, and then I need to do some armhole increases, and then I'll join in the round and start the colour work. So that's really nice. This is super lovely to knit with. It's feeling soft, but my swatch softened up a lot more as well. I think this is toothy, or this feels rustic, but it has absolutely no itch element. This feels rustic. I mean, to be fair, they feel pretty similar right now. But yeah, I think this would be my go-to choice. It also just smells so good. But this one, I can see why it would make a more like non-woolly friendly. It's still 100% wool, but it is softer. Something that took me a bit to get used to is that this is a very elastic yarn. I don't really tell that, but so it makes it quite interesting with swatching. And I found that when I made a colourwork sweater, I actually have it sitting right here just because I pulled all my sweaters out yesterday. I made this, and I used this Cielo from Holst, and it is also a very stretchy yarn, and I found it gave me incredibly even colourwork tension because that stretch really just evened everything out for me so much. So I'm looking forward to trying to see what the colourwork looks like in this. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to say for this. I suddenly panicked that I only had re-recorded for 4 minutes, but I forgot that I paused. So yeah. Oh, that's the interesting thing. So that's one thing I wanted to try. When I knit this version, my increase method on the shoulders is just knit front and back, because that's the increase method I enjoy knitting. That's along here. And with this version, I'm trying make one left. I make ones with make one left purl, make one right purl. I just find it hard to keep track of them on my head. So I'm interested to see if they make any difference to the final pattern. You cannot tell on camera. So I'll be interested. They're a little bit different on the inside. This is a very, very neat, my pickup edge is very neat on this version. It's not quite as neat on the other one. So yeah, we have a very quiet weekend planned, and I'm hoping, my plan, this might be ridiculous, my plan is today I would like to get through get joining the round, and then I would like to, if possible, knit the body colour work and maybe like an inch, and maybe put that on hold, then do a sleeve colour work and put that on hold, and then finish the body, because I really would like to get this sample, which is the body. I only need to do the body and one sleeve to do the test recall, because I don't want people to sign up not knowing what the shorter colourwork version will look like, which means I have to get this done in 2 weeks. Which I think, if I can get the body knits itself, it was super fast, and this version's cropped as well, so it's not going to take me as long. Yeah. So if I can get that joined in the round today, and then tomorrow, I'm thinking really nice lazy morning, coffee, colour work. It's also narrow colour work, so it's not going to take me as long. It's like 25 rows instead of 40 something rows. That is the plan. So yeah, that's my first whip, and I think this is the one that will be getting the most love and attention for the next few days, just because I really want to get the sample done. I'm not too worried about the second sleeve, because I know fit wise it's fine. This is really just to work out if I like the two options for colour work, and based on whether I like those or not, I'll feel comfortable releasing a test recall when testers have got two things to pick from, if that makes sense. Okay, honestly, I will admit this, I have, oh no, I've got 4 more whips. Oh my goodness, who said? I said I was monogamous knitter, and that's a complete lie. Okay, let me go with this one first. This is not something I've designed, so you can get a bit of a refresher for that before I jump back into a design. This is the Novice cardigan by Petite Knit. And I just started this last episode. I started this like the morning of the last episode, and if I'm honest, if I wasn't so focused on my other test knit right now, I think this would be done because it's great and it knits up super quickly. So here we go. It's blowing out a little bit in the light. It is red. It's probably a slightly more winey red than like this is quite cherry red, it's a bit more winey red. And yeah, I finished the body and I've started the first sleeve and it's just flying. This yarn I think is really good because it's a rounded yoke, and I find that round yokes sometimes can have very obvious increases, and if I'm being honest, I hate that. Like, I think it looks very amateur. Like, I think it looks very handmade, which there's nothing wrong with, but I just don't like it. There's a Novice, I think the Novice sweater from Petite Knit, like you can see the lines of increases and that just puts me off. But with this chunky yarn, and it's also not been blocked, you can, like, I guess I know they're here and here and here, but I don't think you can see them at all in real life. So yeah, it's quite long, and I have a habit of cropping everything, so I was like, don't crop it, like knit the length it says. It might be a bit too long for me, but what I'm planning to do is when I block it, I'm going to block it out a little bit more like width-wise, because I want it to be kind of oversized, and I think it's probably right now just fitting. So I'm going to block it out a little bit more width-wise, and then I'll see what the body is like. Like, is it, I think it's going to be wearable, and something I will get a lot of use out of. But once I stretch it out that way, it should shrink a little bit. And we'll see where we land. So yeah, it's stunning. It's going to be so, I feel like I'm going to wear this. I really, really feel like I'm going to wear this. I will put a picture actually. Yesterday, so in our house, in our bedroom, we have a fitted wardrobe. And it's quite a deep fitted wardrobe. And there's a shelf, like a high shelf, and that's where I keep my knitwear. But I've just been throwing them up there. So yesterday I took them down and folded them all. And so I have them all sitting here beside me because I folded them all and I've not put them back, because what's the use of doing a full job if you can just do half a job? So I have them all here. What I was really I found really intriguing was to see my colour palette, because I knit the same, like it's quite colourful. Like I have greens, I have yellows, I have reds, I have blues, I have a lot of greys and neutrals. And I do have I have a colourwork sweater in this cardigan in this colour, which I love, but colourwork, it feels very festive to me. It's red and white, it feels very festive, and so I'm looking forward to having one in like a more day-to-day colour. It's currently I'm just powering through the sleeves. They're just on the round as well. We actually went to a preview on Wednesday night of the first 2 episodes of the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. It was amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. It has that like epic sweeping feel where there's a lot of stories going on and they're all happening in different places and you don't really understand what's going on. The costuming was outstanding, and I really enjoyed the cinematography and like the sweeping music. We don't have a TV, we like stream a lot of stuff, so we'll watch it on laptops. We've got a projector for when we watch big movies. And I don't know how we're going to get the same quality of experience watching the rest of the series, because watching it in the cinema was amazing. So even if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, I would recommend it. It seems to me to be, like, I've read the first book. I've been meaning to read them all for forever, and I've watched the movies a couple of times, and I felt like even without like Lord of the Rings knowledge, you could enjoy it. So I would recommend that. And it comes out today actually, or tomorrow, I'm not sure. But I was going to take this because I thought if I take this I will finish an entire second sleeve while we're there. But instead, and I should have shown you that actually, instead I took my this so I could finish the back panel. That is a life hack. If there's parts of knitting that you don't particularly enjoy, like I don't love knitting back and forwards, I just find it really, I just don't love it. Take it to cinema, because you're so busy focusing on what's on the screen you don't notice what's happening. But I dropped a stitch. That's what I was going to show you. I dropped a stitch while we went to the cinema on the back panel, right at the edge. So I noticed it pretty quickly and I just immediately increased, and I'll just fold this, like knit this back, sew this back in, and it's toothy, so it's just staying out there. But yeah, I took this to the cinema. And but I was going to take this cardigan, but I decided against it. But yeah, this is just going to fly, absolutely fly. It's just one more sleeve, which I think this is in like 30 minutes worth of knitting, and I already have like, what is that, 12 centimetres ish of, yeah, 12, maybe 10 centimetres, well, that's 4 inches of sleeve, and it's just, I've just basically just done 30 minutes knitting. So yeah, I'm using, what's in my very lovely Petite knit bag, which I really love. I'm using Drops Air and Drops Alpaca, brushed alpaca silk, which is like it's kind of like a mohair, but it's chunkier, so it's a slightly thicker strand, and of course it's alpaca. That's the primary difference. I made a cardigan before in Drops Air. It has not worn well. Like it's right there. I could grab it. I won't. I wear it all the time. It has pilled like crazy. It's not very structured, but it's so soft, and it like picks up like the whole arms here are like, they've got like grey bubbles. It's a white cardigan. They've got grey bubbles on them. It just picks up like every bit of fluff and dirt that it can find. However, I'm hoping with the strand of alpaca silk, it might be a bit stronger and it might feel a bit more structured, because the other one feels very loose and goosey and loosey-goosey. I do need to get buttons for this, and I've not ordered them yet, but I think I'm going to order buttons from Pigeon Wishes, which is somebody that I've actually followed on Instagram for ages, whose name is Meg. I'll put a picture of the ones I'm thinking of. There's a perfect set of buttons, but I don't, like, they're sold out everywhere, in a colour called Bloody Valentine, which is like a pink and red button. But I think there's another one, Wuthering, and another one. I put the pictures of both up and you can tell me what you think. I've not ordered them yet. I don't want them to be too outlandish, but I would like fancier buttons. I actually really want to get them in like a white and brown tortoise shell. That'd be perfect. Which are the same with the glasses that I normally wear, but I'm not wearing those glasses because I scratched them badly and they need to get repaired. So I'm wearing my old glasses. But my tortoise shell, I love my main glasses. They're called like vanilla tortoise shell, and it's white and brown, and that's what I want for the buttons, but it's pretty tricky to find. Okay, what next? Okay, let me go on to my another whip. So yeah, that's a Novice cardigan by Petite Knit. I think I covered everything there, I think. So last episode I showed you my Webster hat and mitts. I still only have one mitt in. And the third edition is going to be a cowl, and I've made good progress on the cowl, but I've run out of yarn. But I can show you what progress I've made. So this is the cowl. It's a shame because this is so much fun to knit. Like, I want this just to be ready so I can knit it. So this is the cowl. So I've done it the opposite way. So this is pink with the red, and this is red with pink. Ta-da! And yeah, it's this like 2-colour rib that I really love. It's a very, very, especially in the round, it's so fun to knit. Like, I really, really love knitting it. This pattern is in a pretty good place. I need to knit the second mitten, and just, I don't know if I wrote down how I did this first one. And I have like a loose idea in my head of what I did. And obviously, like, I don't know how many stitches I cast on, but I can count how many stitches I have, so that is fine. But I need to make the second one. I should probably do that soon, actually. And then I have to decide, ultimately, I need to finish the cowl. I ordered the yarn for it yesterday. So annoying, because all I need is, I think, 1 skein of this rust colour, and this is a 50-gram ball of Drops from Wool Warehouse. And I'm like, it costs like £1.80 because it's a sale in the minute. I'm so annoyed at myself because I've ordered from Wool Warehouse, and why didn't I just add a couple more balls in there? So anyway, I finally bit the bullet and ordered it. And then somebody met, like, Yenny, who is one of my test knitters. She's Finglish Knits on Instagram. She knits amazing things. I met her actually at Unravel for the first time, and I knew who she was because she did a test knit for Sari Nordland, and I saw her test knit and I was like, that's that girl. But she was like, hey, I said, oh, I've run out of this yarn, but it seems so silly to order a single skein. She's like, I'm gonna place an order soon, like you can just tack it on, I can bring it to knit night. And I was like, I'm an idiot, I should have just done that. Anyway, I ordered it, so it's on the way, and then I can finish this. I'm not far, like it's another maybe 5 centimeters I think of the design, and then the other ribbing, and it's going to be one of these. I really like these cowls. I think they're the ones I like to wear the most. Oh, you can see how badly creased my t-shirt is. If my mum's watching, don't tell me how badly creased my t-shirt is, mum. She knows I own an iron. Yeah, it's one of the ones that kind of like, it sits quite open at the bottom and then it kind of folds up, so it doesn't have the bulk of a scarf or like a shawl, but it really tucks nicely under a coat, so that's what we're going with. So yes, so that's where we're at with the Webster set. Hopefully I'll get this finished actually probably next week by the time the yarn arrives. I think it's like a day worth of knitting, and then I need to decide what to do, because I think I'll do like a 4-week test call for this, and I'd like it to come out mid-October, because mid-October means like there's plenty of time for gift knitting, and to be honest that's when I knit most of my accessories are for gifts. However, I would really like, next weekend I'm going to a yarn festival and I want to get a skein of hand-dyed DK, because I'm pretty sure that with one skein of hand-dyed DK you could make a pair of mittens and a hat and a cowl with that as your contrast colour, which would just mean like if you buy a fancy skein of DK and it's like, yeah, sorry, I just suddenly thought that was a ridiculous concept, but I don't think it is. The hat used 30 meters of contrast. So yeah, if a skein of DK weight is like, what, 250 meters, it should be more than enough. And that means like if you could buy a special skein of DK, or you have those single skeins of DK lying around, you could use like a cheaper set, like main colour, and it could really go really far, and it could be a really beautiful gift set. And you could do things like, if it was an ombre skein, okay, stick with me on this one, imagine an ombre skein of contrast where you knit the mitts first, and then you knit the cowl, and then you knit the hat, so like the ombre went all the way through the set. That'd be really cool. So I think I'm gonna get, I'm definitely picking up a skein of DK, like a nice, something fancy, like variegated or ombre effects. I'm almost sure I'm going to get it from Zakami, which is an Edinburgh based dyer. They're so lovely, I really like them, they have amazing colours. I'm going to have to make sure I don't buy 100 things from them, because I just really like what they do. And I'm thinking they have some nice ones with navy, and then like a navy background colour, and that is the plan. So that was my dilemma. My dilemma is I'm not going to be able to finish the whole sample, like 2 sets of samples by then, but I could knit 1 sample, so like I can finish off my cowl and then do a tester call, and then do the hat and the cowl and the mittens again during my own test knit in my other contrast yarn. Does that make sense? Is that me? Is mid-October a good time to release accessories? I have one more accessory coming this year, I think, because I'm unstoppable, which is me positively saying that I've lost my mind. Which I'll probably do like mid-November. That works, right? Mid-November. So you've still got 6 weeks to knit it. Anyway, I need to get yarn for that one too at Perth. So that's all I want to say about my Webster cowl. The Webster sweater I've not touched this last time. I do fully plan to pick it up again. As you can tell, I've got a lot on my brain at the moment. And I've got a lot more knitting on my needles than I thought I did too. I think my toxic trait is that I think I have more than one toxic trait, but one of them is that I just tell myself that some things don't count as whips. Like a 3-piece accessory set, that's not a whip, it's just a side project. Like a 2 meter long shawl, it's just a side project, like it's not a whip. If it's not a sweater, it's not a whip. That's not true, but that's how I think. I'm going to take some tea because I made myself tea before I sat down and I didn't drink any of it. And this is from my mug. And then I got as a birthday gift from the lovely Miss Amy Palco, and it says on the inside, you see that? Dream, believe, achieve. Words to live by. I have a lot of mugs, and today Today, this afternoon, so my brother's girlfriend she's handing in her dissertation for her master's today. The deadline's noon actually. So I'm gonna go round after work and drop off something. I don't know what yet, but they don't live very far from us, like a 20-minute walk, 30-minute walk. So I'm gonna walk there, and on the way, I go past a very nice little gift shop, and I think I might get her something from the gift shop too. But they have these mugs, and they're so beautiful. They're like hand thrown mugs, and they're blue and white, and I need one. And I'm having a bit of a treat yourself week, because why not? And yesterday I told my boyfriend this. I was like, yeah, so I'll walk up and I'll go to like to pick up soy sauce and go to the post office. Like I'll do these things, and then I'll drop that off with her, and then I'll come back down the road. And he was like, oh, I can come with you. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he was like, do you not want me to come? And I was like, no, you should come. I was like, but I'm going to warn you, I'm buying a mug. And he was like, Rebecca, we have so many mugs. And I was like, yes, but it'll be one in, one out. I was like, I'll get rid of another one. Like, we'll put another one for the charity shop. Because I just love a mug. So yeah, I'm going to buy a new mug today as well. Okay, we have 2 more whips, and one is barely even a whip, so it doesn't even count, but I'll show it briefly. And then we've got a giveaway, and then I've got some yarn, and then I've got some unboxing. What? Okay. It's my mum's birthday this month. We're now September. It's officially her, oh my god, it's closer than I thought it was. I need to get back on my 5 centimetres a day rule. She wants a wrap that she can wear to fancy events. And she wants it in fluff. And I had kidsilk mohair, brushed alpaca silk, brushed alpaca, that's what I'm looking for, in black, and she wants it in black, and I used this instead of using, I could have used mohair, but this is fine. I think it completely fits the bill. And I was back and forth, what am I gonna make? She just wants something to wrap around her, so I kind of looked on Purl Soho for some inspiration, but ultimately I decided I just cast on I think like 120 stitches, and then I have an I-cord edging either side, and otherwise this is garter, because honestly it's all black, and I knew it had to be something that I wanted to knit. Like I had to want to knit on it and not hate it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. Like if it was going to be bad, if it's stuck in it, I wouldn't have finished it. So her birthday is in 2 and a bit weeks, and it's getting there. So this is what we have. I think it looks so not great on camera. Like I don't think it's not, I mean it is see-through in real life, but it's not, like there's a real density to it in real life that I feel like the camera just blows through. So we've got about 90 centimetres done, and so I think I want it to be about 150. I'm just thinking of this as like as a wrap. It's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be so nice. I think she's gonna get so much wear out of it. There's 0 itch factor, especially with this with alpaca, which another reason I think it's a good one to use. And I think she's gonna end up using this. Like she wants her fancy events, but I think she's gonna end up wearing this everywhere. I hope so, because it's a lot of knitting. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like if I'm trying to work out if that's the bit that just wraps, like yeah, fashion. So that's the plan. I'm getting there. I've got a little stitch marker to, I mentioned in the last episode I kept making mistakes like dropping stitches and things, but touch wood, I've not done that in a while. And I've got a little stitch marker, so that's what I knit yesterday, which is not 5 centimetres. So what have I got? Oh, did I just eat a fly? I don't know, maybe it was a fly. I hope it was just a bit of wool. Protein. If I've done 90 centimetres and I want to do another, that's 10 days of knitting. If I do 5 centimetres a day, I need to get back on it. Like I need to just get on it, because I also want to block it, and her birthday is 18 days away. Cool, that's doable. Yeah. So I should have this finished for the next podcast. That should be my goal. That's 2 weeks from now, which will then give me the weekend to block it and give it to her. And what I really want to get her is a really lovely shawl pin. Again, next weekend it's Perth Festival of Yarn. I'm hoping to have a look at there for one and see if I can find a nice shawl pin. If they don't have one, I'll order one online, but it'd be nice to get one in person. Yeah, it's just a single strand. I don't know what the gauge is. I think I'm knitting it on 4mm needles. I'm a very loose knitter. I'm becoming looser. This is becoming problematic because I need to adhere like a 3mm needle and everything. Just to knit normal. Okay, last one. I think this is going to be an epic episode. I did not mean it to be so long, but that's what's happened. I have the tiniest bit of a whip to show you, but I thought I'd show it. It's in this tiny little bag. I'm really enjoying it actually. Like, I've got this little bun, which is from Lysander and Olive on Etsy. And then I have my little one here, which is my Willow Bay handmade. And they're just, like, they're great for the start of a project. Okay, I'll try that again. I'll hold it a bit tighter this time. They're really good for the start of a project. Like, you only have a couple of skeins in there. It's not a full sweater yet, but you've just started. I'm enjoying it for that. So this has 2 skeins. One of Filcolana Arwetta in the colourway Camel, and one drops the kidsilk mohair in the colourway Almond. No, it's Caramel. Caramel and almond, because I remember thinking they sounded really tasty together. And I had a little gauge swatch, and this is the softest thing. Like, oh my goodness, this is heavenly soft. This is a little bit bigger gauge than I wanted, but that's fine. And so all I've knit so far is this. This is what I've got. It's a little bit of ribbing, and that's it. So yeah, I told myself I wasn't casting this until next week, but I got some exciting news yesterday, which I'll share at the end, because I know I'm already rambling. So I thought I would cast this on, and last night is a bit of a reward, and I'm excited. I'm really excited for this one. I've got a very, very, very clear picture in my head of how to do this, and I think this will probably be my most challenging yet in terms of grading and construction. But we're gonna go for it, see what happens. So yeah, that's where we started. It's a teaser. And more to come on that one. I actually meant to say last time, are they in here? Yeah, I meant to say last time, I think I did a bit of acquisitions, and I completely forgot to mention, I get a lot of my stitch markers from an Etsy seller called Rebecca. So that's already a great sign. And it's called rebeccasroom.co.uk, and I always buy through Etsy, but I think obviously you get the website. And they come in little tins. They're also round tins. I'm trying to think if I think they just come in different sizes. And what I love is that they're super, super simple. So these ones, I actually just chucked in a light bulb one, and there's another random one in there as well. But this is what they, for the most part, look like. They're just little gold rings. And I've got a couple of different ones. Like, they're different sizes. I've got a gold set, I've got a silver set, and I've got like a pair. I've got like a wider one that goes up to 8mm. They're not expensive at all. I think they're like maybe £3, and then I think if you add a tin, they're £5. And I just replace them. Like, I bought 3 sets recently, 2 in tins and 1 to replace like I had an empty tin. They're really, really good. So I would really recommend these. And then I find this little tin. I've got a couple of round ones and this one. I can just like chuck them in a bag. And then if I know I've got raglan increases or whatever coming up, I usually like have my normal set, and then I might put in a couple of like lightning bulb and a unique beginning of round, and they're just in little tins ready to go. So we've got a new project. I just chuck them in the bag. I actually should probably move this one to my Kerr sample bag, because when I get into doing the colour work, I'll put one between every colour work, and then I'll put the unique beginning of round at the start of the round to do all the colour work. Top tip, I'm sure everyone's doing this already, but I thought I'd share it with you. Rebecca's Room on Etsy. That's not at all sponsored or anything. Just so you know. But I really like them, and I like a lot of the ones that they have are really nice. There's some like geometric ones and like cat ones. Like, there's a lot of everything, but that's the one I really enjoy. Okay, let's do the giveaway. So we hit 10k subscribers a little while ago, which is very exciting. So I'm going to give away 3 very special skeins of yarn that come from some designers that are either local to me or just designers that I really love. I've accidentally knocked this skein apart. Oops. So they are a skein of Chatsworth Chatsworth Blues, which is a sock from Peak District Yarns, and it's after Chatsworth House. There is a skein from the Cami, which is Hygge, and this is the one that's super drapey because it is alpaca, silk and cashmere. And a skein of singles, merino singles, in the colourway Lady Charlotte from Bridgerton from Tumeki. I actually love that I subconsciously already mentioned both of the designers already in this episode. The Cami and also Tumeki I've already talked about, which I didn't realise. So what I will do, I had this great idea about doing this live and like on now doing the thing and then showing you who won, but I'm not organised enough to do that because I can't remember what comment picker to use, and today's already been a bit chaotic. So what I will do is I will put a thing here saying the 3 people who've won. Ta-da! If your name is on screen, firstly, congratulations, you've won some yarn. If you can drop me an email or an Instagram message, either is fine. They're both down below, telling me, be like, hi, I'm such and such and I won your giveaway. And my preference would be like 1, 2 and 3. And if you can tell me which of the 3 you'd like, you might not get your first choice, but what I'll try and do is give everyone one of the ones they want. So the singles, so there's Tumeki, which is Queen Charlotte in singles. There's Zakami, which is in Hygge. The colour, I don't know why I say that with such like chessiness. Hygge. Zakami, and there is Chatsworth Blues. Chatsworth Blues, Hygge, Queen Charlotte. And thank you everyone else, because 10k is really cool, and it's been a big year actually, and it feels quite exciting that this is now such a big part of who I am and what I do, knitting, but also the podcast. So thank you for being here, and I probably should put some thought into, I think October 4th is the 1 year podiversary, and I'll do another giveaway for that. And I'd like to say, everyone who has to comment on the last episode, you're amazing. It made me so happy. I have not done a giveaway since I don't think I've done a giveaway since my first 1,000 subscribers, and the comments are just so nice. Like, if I'm ever feeling sad or need a little ego boost, I'm going to read those comments because honestly, it just made me really happy. So thank you if you did enter, and for the 3 winners, congratulations. Okay, let's we'll do it this way. We'll do my yarn that I purchased, and then I will, did I get something else? Oh, I also got a pom-pom. Where's my pom-pom gone? It's okay. I'll do the yarn that I purchased, and then I'll do my unbox my postal arrival. So the first thing that I purchased, sorry, everyone who messaged me and told me that I influenced them to buy in the drop sale, I'm sorry, because I influenced myself. I think I placed 3 orders over the course of the Alpaca sale. Why? I don't know. So, I placed I think I already placed an order. It's my second order. All because somebody posted on Instagram who is, sorry, I've got the hiccups again, an Edinburgh-based sewist posted that I follow, posted on Instagram and was like, I'm going to make this slipover, and it's the holiday slipover with Petite knit. What yarn should I use? And I was like, oh, use drop swish, like it's bang on, meets gauge. I think the actual holiday slipover uses like 3 strands held together. And she's like, I don't want to buy 3 strands, I'm quite a new knitter, what can I use? And I was like, oh, use drop swish, and it's on the sale. And then I got to thinking, like, oh, drop swish, I could make this. And then I watched Laura Penrose at Penrose Knits, and she's made one. So of course I'm ready to make one. And she did an amazing thing and like stash busted all of it. And could I have done that? Probably. Did I buy more yarn? Yes. Did I buy too much yarn? Definitely. I don't think I'm gonna need this much. We'll see. So this is Drop Swish. I will say, I thought that Drop Swish was like Drops Air. Maybe it is. I think it is. It's still a chainette, but it feels like a roving. Whereas Drops Air feels very squishy. This feels more like a roving, and I've had bad experience with the roving, so we'll see how that goes. It's a chainette, and I got it in the white colour. Is it called white? It's not got a colour name on it. 50% alpaca, 33% cotton, 17% wool, and I don't think my shipping label is in here, but it was incredibly inexpensive. I think it was maybe like £2 a ball, and I think I bought, I can tell you I bought 10 balls. So it's going to be slipover for less than £30, which is quite exciting. I think as I mentioned earlier, I've been having some hand pain, and I think it's been good that I've had the chunkier cardigan on the 7mm needles to swap in and out of. That's really helped, I think, with when my hands are getting sore. There was one night where I was like, I need to stop knitting tonight. Of course I didn't stop knitting. Of course I didn't. What did I do? I switched to chunky needles. Did it help? It didn't help, but it didn't make things worse. So it's been good to have a chunkier, because at the moment everything else I'm knitting on is on like a 3 or 4mm needle. So what I think is when that cardigan is finished, and when I get past my mid-September deadlines for getting things done, I will cast this on as like a chunkier project to have. I'm thinking I have quite a few dresses that I think this will go really well with. I've got like a gingham dress that I think it would be really nice with. And I was showing pictures of like Petite Knit with Meta from Petite Knit with her dress and her pullover to my boyfriend, and he was like, is that a thing people are wearing now? And I was like, yeah. He was like, are you sure? So he's not on board, but who knows, I'll knit it, it could be fun. I've never knit a pullover before. Actually, that's not true. I've knit one and it was 16 sizes too big. Don't know how that happened, and I pulled it out. So let's see if my second attempt was any better. I also have in here a couple of skeins of Rerum Alpaca Classic. I've got a design in mind. The design will be coming after the new year. Like, this one is not being cast on. I mean, maybe it'll be cast on, but there's not going to be any, like, I know I got Cargill in testing. I have Kerr coming out for testing. I've got the one, my little caramel almond ribbed one, which is gonna happen. Like, that's gonna get knit this year. And then I'm not planning any more design releases or even probably tester calls at least until December, probably January. But I have a design in mind, and I knew I wanted to use this yarn, which is a Rerum Alpaca Classic. It is 57% alpaca, 43% cotton. It is again a chainette. It's very, very soft, and I know exactly what I want to make with this. And a local-ish to me yarn shop called Creative were having a sale, and it was a massive sale. Like, they had such big discounts across everything, and I wasn't planning to buy anything, but I ended up buying a copy of Pom Pom Dreamscape, because I might make a cloud bow dress, which is that mohair dress, TBC. And I bought Alpaca this yarn because it's quite expensive normally, and I need quite a lot of it. It's 120 meters, and I think I needed like a good 10 balls at least, and it's usually like £6, so, or even more than that, which for me is, it's not crazy expensive, but it's a bit pricier. And so I was saying, like, I'll just wait and come around to it at some point. However, this yarn shop had a sale, and this is in the sale, and it was down to like £4 a ball. So I was like, that's definitely what I want to buy. Let's get it now. But they only had 9 balls in stock, so I ordered 2 more. I don't have that order with me, but the dye lots are quite obvious. One is much more grey and one is much more blue. So I ordered 2 extra balls from Wool Warehouse when I placed my Drops Wish order. What I will do is this with my swatching, and like if I need to do like cuffs and hems, then I can always use this for that. But it is quite an obvious dye lot, and the numbers are quite wildly different. Like, this is 418101, and that one's like 43 something. So it's quite a big, I don't know if that's how dye lots work, but in my head, if there's more difference between the numbers, there must be more of a difference in the dye lots. So yeah, that's what I got. It's 25 grams, it's gonna be super light and airy, and I'm thinking this is like a springtime cardigan. But you won't see that again for a while, I don't think. Yeah, oh, my hair is really messy at the back. Okay, let's unbox this. Unpackage, and then a little bit of a life update. Yeah. So, I'm just gonna open this and I can cut out the rustling part, because I think that annoys people. Okay, so I ordered from a yarn story, which I think is in Bath. I ordered from them because they were the only ones that had what I wanted in stock, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's okay. So they're giving me a cute little card. This is a yarn story. It was my birthday a week ago, last Friday, and I got myself a gift. I will also say, I I have a couple of, I got like a project bag coming from my sister. She asked me like 2 days before my birthday, like, what do you want? And I was like, this would be great. But of course it didn't arrive on time. So maybe I'll get that tomorrow. She's moving into her university accommodation tomorrow in Edinburgh. So I think I'm going to go help my mum help her move in. Also, my very delightful boyfriend got me a Chowgu interchangeable set. And I almost cried. And we had friends staying for the weekend, and I opened it and I was, oh my god, it's a Chowgu set. And they were like, what is it? I was like, it's knitting needles. It was so nice of him. It was like a full set. I had not expected it at all. Like I did not think, even when it was sitting in front of me wrapped up and I could see the size and the shape of it, that's not what I thought was in there. I'd been slithering about buying them for so long. It was just such a beautiful gift. It was so nice of him. However, he did something very sweet, which is he went in and he measured my knitting needles, because obviously with Chowgus you can get a 4-inch set or a 5-inch set, and he went in and measured them, and they were all of mine are 5 inches. So he ordered a 5-inch set, and he was like, if you want, like, we can switch them. And I was like, I waited until after the birthday, and I said to him, if it's not a bother, I think I'd get more use out of the 4-inch set, because I've already got a full set of 5 inches, and the 4-inch set means I can do things like sleeves, and like it means that I'm covered in all bases, because there's nothing wrong with my full Knit Pro set. I have the Knit Pro Symphony, no, Knit Pro, I don't know, the coloured ones, that's like £30 from Amazon. Like, it's not expensive. I've had them since I started knitting a few years ago. They're amazing and I love them. But like, I want to supplement them, so I'm taking the yarn shop has said, yeah, it's the place he ordered from, we had to send them back and I'll send a new set, so I don't have them to show. But that was an incredibly thoughtful gift, and I'm just so impressed. Like, I've talked about them so much that he knew exactly what to get. Also, maybe a month ago, no, more than that, maybe 6 weeks ago, I was sitting up at like, for some reason, I'm not often awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and I was going to buy them, and something in me said, don't buy them, and I didn't. It was a good thing. But I did buy myself, oh, it's much bigger than I thought. So for my birthday, I bought myself a few more things from Mood. So Mood is, I don't actually, okay, let me get my wrap. It's going to be so messy. So it's just sitting open right now. So this is my needle case. It's very empty because all my knitting needles are sitting out because they all need to be put back in. This is the Stockholm case from Mood, and it is leather. I mean, it's in the whiskey colourway, and this is a needle case, and I love it. I really love it. It's softened up so nicely with wear. It holds all my needles. It doesn't actually hold my needles, that's part of the problem, but it holds most of them. It's pricey, but I was looking around and some of them are even more expensive. Like, some are really expensive, and I think this one is maybe £70, which is a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, wasn't crazy. So when it came to my birthday and deciding that I was going to treat myself, I decided to get some more Mood products. Sorry, there's some more piece of packaging. So I bought 2 things. The first thing is I bought the Dust. This is the Dust, yeah. The Dust bag. It's still got all this lovely label on it. And this is just a little pouch. And I wanted to put things like my gauge, like all my extra little tins of stitch markers, like measuring tapes, all like the random stuff if they're not in project bags. So usually there's things that I like trained using project bags, like my gauge needle, which I've lost, I can't find it, I don't know where it is. But like my gauge rule, like snips, all those things, and that was what this is for, which I think is going to be perfect sized. And it also has a little, which I didn't know, it has a little zipper on the inside again. So there are 2 pouches, which could be handy. So yeah, it is a little bit smaller than I expected it to be, if I'm being perfectly honest. But not massively. And it still will fit everything, I think. I think I thought it was going to be like this big, which is really not much of a difference. And the second thing I got myself is the Filcolana Wrap, I think it's called. This is the first time I've seen these in person. So this is advertised, ooh, this is not what I expected. This is advertised as something to hold all of your, it's actually much bigger than I thought, this one. It's advertised as a place to hold your embroidery threads. And I decided to use it for like my extra needles. And I actually thought, I thought it was going to be much shorter. Like I thought it was going to be like That's pretty big. And I was going to use it for my small, like my really small needles that are things like my shorty tips. But I don't think it's going to fit my shorty tips. Like I think it's going to be too big. Yeah, it's almost too big for my... This might not be exactly what I was looking for. Okay. Well, we'll see. I will try filling them in. My plan was to put all my extra needles in here that I didn't need, and I thought this was going to be so short because it was for embroidery floss that I could just chuck in like my shorties that are loose, because I've got quite a lot of like random loose shorties. But it's bigger than I thought it would be. Anyway, I will sit with those and move some of my stuff over, and I think at some point, absolutely no rush because again it's a quite a big expense, when I get my full chowgy set, I will be getting myself this is the whiskey colour. I think I'll get the same one in black for my chowgus, which is my plan, so I can put my chowgu needles in and everything and have them separate, and then I'll have one for this and one for my chowgus, which I'm very excited for. But yeah, so that was my little gift to myself. Not that I needed it, because I don't need an excuse to give myself presents, but I took it anyway. So that is about it. Congratulations, you stuck around, because I think this is a very rambly episode. Next week, so my plan is that from now for the next probably 4 weeks, potentially as long as 6, but we'll see. Actually, yeah, potentially. My plan right now is that this week we'll have an podcast episode. The next week we'll do a yarn stash kind of tour, showing you what I've got in stash, showing you some of my plans for the things I've got, and then asking for some ideas for stuff I've not got ideas for. Then what else? Stash, and then I'll have a podcast episode again, and then I'm thinking of going to my local yarn shop and or my local yarn shop's taking you to Edinburgh, and then a podcast episode again, and then maybe like a knit and chat, and then a regular episode, and then the final special episode is that I thought at the end of October I could do an episode about like launching my first knitting pattern, so the whole process, and at that point I'll have had like a month. It should be like for a month, so I can maybe give an insight into like the first month sales and the process and all of those things. So yeah, some bonus stuff coming up. We'll see how well I can stick to that one. I'm not entirely sure if that's something I will be able to maintain, but that's my plan. It's been a very, very, very busy couple of weeks because I got a new job. It feels a bit potentially early to share because I've not started my new job yet, but I've handed my notice in at my current job and I've got a month notice to work. So and I'll be starting a new position. I have got a lot of holidays to take, which is why I'm thinking I might have a bit of time to make some extra content. I hate calling it content, but it's what it is really. A bit of time to make some extra stuff because I'm gonna have some time off. We're hoping to maybe go on a little holiday or a little break, but I still think I'm going to have a couple of extra days here and there to be able to make some footage and to do some interesting things, which will hopefully be fun. So it might mean that I film all of it, except for the designing episode, like well in advance, and just release them more gently. We'll see. And of course, lots of time for knitting. I'm pretty positive that once I start my new job, I'm not going to have as much time to do, especially designing, because I think it's going to be pretty full on. It's a big jump for me, and it's the same job title, but it's in a different kind of field and a different, I'm going to an innovation team, which I've not really done before, so I think it's going to be new processes. I want to be able to give that 100% and to really learn. There are some incredibly talented and very smart people at the company I'm going to, so I'm looking forward to learning a lot from them. So what I'd like to do is that by the time, like I kind of would like to have everything, all my designing plans for the rest of the year like written up and the admin mostly done, so that when it comes to starting that new job, I'm not like, I don't have edits to work about, or like it's gonna be test knits going, because that's generally a bit more hands off. But yeah, that's my plan. So I'd like to really spend that time making a bit of content and doing a lot of knitting, and I've got things like I've got a quilt to finish. I feel like when when you have it's at school when you finish your exams and you suddenly have all this time and you're like, what am I going to do with all this time because I finished studying? That's kind of how I'm feeling, and I'm kind of making a list of things I want to do. I think in reality, if we take a holiday, there will maybe be like 5 days left, so I don't think there's going to be anywhere near as much time as I think there will be. But yeah, I'd really like to make some videos, and I would really like to knit a lot, and things like, this is gonna sound a bit silly, but I really want to read a book in a day and like pick a big book. Like there's a girl on TikTok who does it, and she's done like June, she's done A Little Life. So I honestly really just want to pick a book, like an epic book. Maybe I'll do the second Lord of the Rings book. Is Two Towers a big one? I can't remember. I don't think so. And yeah, like wake up in the morning and just like completely settle in and be like, the only thing I'm doing today is reading this entire book. Yeah, that's what I want to do with my free time, people. So yeah, that's my big news. Job hunting, it's been pretty stressful, and I think this is becoming more and more common across different fields, but in the world of tech, the application process is hefty. It's usually like 3 or 4 interviews, and usually like a task or a panel presentation. And of course, if you're running them with multiple companies, you just lose all time. Like all my evenings have been just given up pretty much to prepping for the past couple of weeks, so I'm excited now to not have to do that because I got the job. It was obviously worth it, but that's been quite nice. And just generally, it was so stressful. It was really just, especially waiting on like finding out if I got the job, finding out how I was through to the next round. Like that was a lot of refreshing my email and waiting for messages, which is always a bit stressful. Otherwise, next weekend is Perth Festival of Yarn. I'm so excited for it. It feels like it's coming pretty quickly. I can't quite believe it's next weekend. I'm going both days. I have no intention, like I'm just going to hang out. So I hope people are there to hang out with me, because my plan is just to take my knitting. I'm hoping if I finish my Kerr colour work by then, I will just be sitting like knitting on the body, sitting there, relaxing, bit of shopping. Otherwise I'm planning just to hang out. So please come and speak with me. I'm going one day with Caroline's knits, and we're going to get some lunch and things, so that would be really lovely because I've not seen her since her wedding. And yeah, otherwise I'm just going to be chilling for a weekend at a yarn festival, as one does. I've got a lanyard that says podcaster, and I think that lanyard will give me the authority to just sit around and knit, because that's what I plan to do. And that's about it, I think. Yarn festival, job, my birthday happened. Birthday was amazing. I have now gotten into I've got a new tradition, which is having a murder mystery dinner party for my birthday. I did it 2 years ago in lockdown, mostly because it was lockdown, and like I have a big family. I have 4 siblings, and so if you just take in my parents, and I lived at home for like 6 weeks. It's interesting actually, because this time 2 years ago I didn't have a job, and I just left a youth organisation, which I'm almost positive someone will know. It's called Isaac. Someone always knows it. It's pretty big. But I left there, and that was very, very challenging, and I loved being there. But I left and I was a bit lost, and I was like, what am I going to do? And of course 2 years later I got I don't know if it's my dream job because I've not done it, but it feels pretty close to it. But yeah, 2 years ago I was living at home for like 6 weeks. So we did a murder mystery dinner party, and then last year did it again in London with friends, and then this year we did it at home. I'll put a picture because everyone was so nicely dressed. My whole family, and then like all my siblings brought a +1, so their partners or their friends, and it was amazing. It's just good fun. Like everyone really gets into it, and is in costume, and yeah, I really like that. So we did that as well. And it's a really great festival. So it's been a pretty busy couple of weeks. I'm excited for a quiet weekend. Tomorrow, yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow and help my sister move into her new university accommodation, and otherwise I'm gonna knit, try and get through some colour work, watch some TV maybe. It's not much on at the minute. I'm not really into anything right now, so hopefully some people will release podcasts so I can watch some podcasts. And yeah, that's about it for me. Hope you've enjoyed this very, very rambly episode with a lot of editing to come, I think, for me, because I think I've been so many distractions and cutouts, but there we go. I hope you have a really great weekend. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I'll be back next week with some kind of bonus video, probably a yarn stash tour. See you then. Bye.